since our independence, and our guy IBRAHIM, YUSUF in the national president, our transformational leaders. Okay, Ibrahim, welcome to the program today.
Thank you.
Of course, you they come ever since Nigerian Park of the day set. Me and you did here today. And of course, I get opportunity to ask you some kind of questions. I go start with the first question I want to ask you. Of course, make I start with the one our independence so far. We did contradiction, of course, we get different notions. So many people they think, say, well, they give us independence in 1960, and of course, 62 years down the line. What will be your own take? What will be your assessment? First of all, we'll start with that one. Say, first of all, as it concerns, maybe we'll look at our democracy, you understand, or we'll look our from that 1960 to the first democracy will be. I think the democracy that first 1960 before military come around. So we'll just look at state by state first, then we'll continue with other things.
So thank you, viewers. Happy democracy to everyone. 62 years of independence is something that is very important to every citizen of this country. Happy independence. Really, I say happy independence.
Yes, happy independence.
So, we have all reasons for us to celebrate as a Nigeria, as a citizen of this country. Because for God to have spared us, make us an indivisible Nigeria in one entity into a nation is worthy to celebrate. Everybody might not have or get expected or expectation according to plans. Yet, it's still worthy for you to celebrate God for Him to have kept us together. So, we cannot say we are not transforming. We might have faced difficulties, challenges, and hurdles. All these are part and parcel of things that make Nigeria great. Our joy is that we need to see beyond what we have acquired now, or what we have achieved now, or what we attained now, to a greater height, whereby our expectation, if not 100% solved, can be considered to be close to 100% success. So, every member of this nation has reason and have reason to celebrate the independence. We equally need to thank God for one life that we have been maintaining till now.
So, what's your opinion now? Even if because we get so many issues, trying times now, things not the balance for so many people, for so many citizens. Even if with that now, you tell us, okay, because like some people talk, you not be like say we're free. You not be like say we're free because what we define as a people. But what would be your take on that one?
Yeah, everywhere. In fact, across the globe, there's nowhere you have absolute freedom. There's nowhere you have absolute choice of what you want. Certainly, there are hurdles. There are factors that can come your way unexpectedly. Even no matter how you struggle hard or you strive hard to make sure that you get this thing right, yet you still see that one or two things might be factors that hinder that expectation. So nobody should be 100% sure of anything, no matter how you calculate, no matter how you put in plans or hopes you have. Certainly, one challenge must come that is going to be a part of your own destiny or history. So without these challenges, what are we going to refer to as history of events? So we need to appreciate God for what He has done for us. We should always count our challenges and add value to it to transform it to a good use, so that at the end of the day we have a better life and we have a better nation.
Well, in the election year, Ibrahim, and of course, so many persons don't say talk about leadership issue problem. You understand? And of course, the losses we not fair afford to get them wrong again this time. And this independence, it don't open many people thoughts, and of course, so many things. So, what will be your take about our leadership from 1960 now till now? Where we forget them wrong? Leadership, you don't hear many times on set the tech back will say, man, it was okay that time. It was okay from the beginning with the likes of the Saudina, the Ahmadu Bello, and of course the likes of the other persons in that era. where we get it wrong. Why? Because, or except you want proof to me say that we not get leadership problems. Right? It's possible, say, man, no leadership problem. But just let us know what is the issue now.
You know, according to theory of economics, who says that human wants.
I used to tell you, that one late news. Now late news, okay.
So, if it were be okay as at that time, then why cool? No matter what you think from your perspective that is good, there are those who still look at it in a very low percentage. And no matter what you consider to be low percentage to your side, there are those who look at it as excellent. So vis-a-vis, we need to juxtapose and compare what we had then, of which I was not born, what we were told, that the governance of those people and the leadership that display then show more zeal and patriotism to the people, which we are not witnessing now. The leadership of those people, the leadership of the country as at then, were more self-serving to the nation to see how a country can be grown. But the one we have now are acquiring from the government, the system, without even without adding any input to make the country itself look great. So there are two things we need to compare here. First, the patriotism on those people who call leaders as at the time of independence, because it is the zeal to develop their people and the country that makes them go for the independence and the hand of the white people. Now they got it, brought it back to us. They try within short period of time. We have seen, and the record is there, what they have done and what they have put in place as a master plan that is going to transform the nation to an expected hope, just like what we're supposed to witness. But, however, along the line, maybe it could be masterminded by some people, but perhaps what we witnessed that these people were cut short of their ambition. And since that time, we start getting it wrong.
These people we talk about, so like the likes of the Saudina itself, we are great leaders. How come they not fit impact? And of course, there are some persons you go impact in some persons. You know, go fit. The person no go fit. Could remove that kind of impartation on them. And we will see them. It go make remarkable impact in the stuff. But how come such persons not fit? We not get the likes of those people, and they not fit impact greatly on the, because some people always see those people, see their life, sit down. Many of them, you agree with me. So how come? How?
Yeah, you see, when you talk about leadership, you equally look at the perspective of the spiritual angle of life. If God, in His mercy, creates a mankind, a human being, in all form, in all effort for them to be great, yet the same human being can go against the same God, derail from the expectation, and work against Him. Then, much more of human to human. These people created impact, and most of the people today that we're calling leaders were people that benefited directly from the effort of these great men. Like Ahmadu Bello the Great, who strived hard to make sure that he developed the northern part of the country with all effort, without thinking about his immediate family. Ahmadu Bello left as at the time 1966 that he was killed with nothing. He lived in his father's house. He has no building to his own, to himself. He was killed in government house. He had 4 children. They are all females. When he was killed, nothing was made in his account. That is to say that these are the kind of leaders,
selfless people,
that has showed this country what a leadership is supposed to stand for. Now, the people who directly benefited as a result of free education in so many areas of benefit, but now the people we are witnessing today as a leader who could not in any way add value to what was left behind by these great men. Look at Tafawa Balewa, look at Awolowo of the West, the same thing Nnamdi Azikiwe of the East. Yet, since that time, we have never had a good leader that can even imitate what these people left behind. The legacy, they are even destroying the legacy these men left behind.
More look at the political structure. You understand? I believe maybe that there the things forget I'm wrong. Because we know after that, those 66 time, military come in. We know if we call military this, we know if we call.
But they are Nigerians. Most of the development you have today, you see, to a large extent, whenever people talk about this military, we fail to acknowledge the effort those military put also. Most of the edifice we are now proud of today was done by the military. Even I should not even take you long away to Lagos. Let's even within Abuja here. We are enjoying Abuja today as a result of the development by the military. Babangida, right from the Murtala Muhammad Shagari at Babangida and that of Abacha. Go and check strong buildings, strong edifice, strong institution that could be called as national asset. Was done by the military.
If you don't have that,
and you remember that the so-called military too are still Nigeria.
I understand, but I get where they go. They say the worst military, the worst military not even amounts to that of, the worst democracy not even amounts to that of the best of the military regime. You understand? What it implies, you say, man, democracy and democracy. And of course, democracy, they operate with political parties. You understand? So that political party, is it that because from military regime for 1983, the now would they conversate with as young people, young with the grow. You see, say this now president came in, the military take over because it's democracy. And then they still with Shagari and the rest. Small time, this man coming, and of course, you understand. So that our democracy now we did now for since 1999 now. You understand? But how far you think our political structure, our political parties don't fit make this democracy they okay for us? Now, what thing I want to really know?
You see, the best that could happen to a man is ability to discover who you are. When you talk about democracy, are we practicing democracy in Nigeria?
Now
we are just practicing civil leadership.
Not democracy.
It's not democratic.
Democracy.
What you call democracy, a situation whereby you say government of the people, by the people, for the people. But what we have is government of the people, by the people, and by the people. It's not for the people. A situation where you have a leader that amassed wealth to the extent that they don't even know what to do about it. Yet, their next neighbor are suffering. Do you call that one democracy? And they say in the democracy that you cannot afford the right of education. The right you're supposed to earn as through amenities, social amenities, are not available. How did you define that democracy?
Basically, they come back to what I talk about. See, right?
That is to say, we are just in a civilian leadership against military leadership. But in terms of democracy, we are yet to be seen or to be called democratic state nation.
We see what the democracy don't do for outside the world. We will even look the people who colonize us. For instance, like the Britain, look at development. Look at this one might be democratic setting. You understand? Really true democratic setting because it affects the people one way or the other. You understand? They see the true impact of that democracy. But for our own case here, we know they see that kind of thing. You understand? We never see that kind of thing. You don't think, say, well, like now we get our different things where they hook us. Like this, they talk about issue of ethnicity, religion, and every other thing. How you take relate with all these things of religion and other things, compare with our assess with our relate with our democracy. You notice now our problem start from there.
Yeah, that is why for one, I look at it from the perspective of borrowing culture. What you call democracy is not part of the African culture. That is why they are getting it hard.
But we get democracy from there now.
I'm coming.
Nobody give us democracy.
Now, I'm not talking about Africa.
Okay.
The African culture believe in leadership whereby people will come together and tell you what you're supposed to do. Now, we are talking about democratic setting. Our culture is still polygamous family life.
System.
In the Britain, we are talking about, they don't have tribe. They don't have clan. You remember that inside tribe, you still have clan.
For us, yeah.
They are just a racer people. All of them look at themselves as Britain. A Briton will now call himself, yeah, I'm from UK. He doesn't distinguish between the black Briton and that of the white Briton. But when it comes to Nigeria or Africa, we have tribe, we have clan. Inside clan, we still have semi-clan. You have sub-clan inside the clan. So now, it now becomes difficult to manage this. That is where the issue of sentiment come in. That is where issue of race and religion come in. That's where the issue of clan and tribe. Take for instance, within a local government, they will tell you, if you want to contest election, which clan are you from? You are from Edo as a state. Inside Edo now, they will now say that where you from this particular clan cannot be heard in here. How do you call that one democracy?
So that's
where you are cannot be considered as your place of right. You are here in Abuja now. When times come, they'll still refer you back to.
You don't think that one a political structure? That be the problem.
It's part of the. So then, why do you get political? Is it not democracy you are talking about?
Yeah.
So now, when you come to issue of what is affecting us, is that we are just being surface. We are just in surface of trying to call ourselves or trying to imitate what is not part of us. So that is why we are still getting it right. Not until we get to understand that all the ingredients that make up a democracy or a democratic government are put in place so that everybody can now contribute their quota. Look at what is happening in the way to 2003 election. People have started campaigning under religion. People have started campaigning under tribe or race of where you come from. So nobody, okay, you go back to home if you cannot support our children. So you could see that we are still far away from what a democracy is all about.
I will digress more, but that's still the same talk. Independence Day broadcast by President Buhari yesterday. Talk about, because I know your transformational leaders, you deal with the issue of ASU. The president talks about make ASU. He pleaded with them to return to class as part of his Independence Day broadcast to ask education, the lecturers to go back to class. What's your take? What is your take on that?
There is a say that it's no matter how late, it's better late than never. Why does it take Mr. President so long to intervene in the issue?
You never give a marching order before, now you forget.
A marching order is not a plane. When the marching order at time expired, what do we see from him? Was there any action? You see, that is part of leadership we are talking about. And that now narrow back to issue of when you are voting people based on your tribe or your religion.
But we're never too late, or as you say.
That is why I say it's never
too late, or as they say. Since he has made the pronouncement.
Now, what he needs to do, the issue of ASU and federal government is beyond the idea of sit down in one place and say, I plead to you. You still take them to court? Government is one. If your minister drag issue of that's supposed to be within a mutual understanding to court, it has become issue of law. Everybody wants to destroy their capacity. And it has become issue of egocentrics. Now, what stop president to call the ministers or any ministries that are responsible for that and call the ASU leadership? Did he invite them and they reject? If you call them, the two of them, I have started with responsibility and I see that there was no result. You have been begging on air and I see that you have not complied. Tell me what is the actual problem.
Okay, you see the problem, they don't know the problem for this matter. ASU matter don't day long.
For president to beg, to plead to them, it is assumed that he did not know the crisis, how deep it is. So the best bet is to call the two leadership,
together,
both the ministry and under him, and that of the ASU. What does it take him to invite these people?
Well, okay, Ibrahim,
we are suffering because this thing directly hit the northern Nigeria.
Not only northern Nigeria, everywhere.
That's where our own is high.
I understand
proportion.
But
take for instance, we have the challenges of lagging behind in academically in terms of Western education that is a tool for any employment and development within the country. We didn't say that other learning is not an education, but the one that you can now use as a means of employment is Western education. We are already lag behind, and the president is from the place of this particular area we are talking about. We equally have challenges, what we call ideological challenges with the Boko Harams. Now, the younger ones that are at home, what do you think will be their fate? How do you think that they are not going to be catch? We should not even be talking about those who have already got admission.
But
we are talking about those who graduated from primary school that are supposed to enter secondary school.
Apart from that, you don't think that aspect of you even need more. Apart from ASU, you need more plans, more.
Don't even go far. President Buhari
for that aspect.
President Buhari is one of our sons from the northern Nigeria. He's a direct beneficiary of Ahmadu Bello's effort. He gained admission into a Nigerian army by the effort of Ahmadu Bello, not by his father's effort. And he go through all this till when he too now play his own role in sacrificing his life to defend the same nation. Now, a man that who could sacrifice, that table his life on the theater of war to save this country at early age, at tender age, what now stopped him to add more value to the effort when he has given opportunity by entire Nigeria on trust to come and do that?
You remember one thing when the man talk, we will wrap up anyway for now. You remember one thing when the man talk when he come in 2015, I didn't forget, I always tell people when he came, he said talk about due process, rule of law, so many other things that we don't tie a hand for back. As a coming in, as a concise democracy. But you notice our democracy, they tie. Now, now president will get you say, but you notice the democracy itself, the rule of law, those things we talk about, tie hand for this kind of matter. You understand? Because I know say, you feel like now you don't pronounce, you don't give much order, you don't work out. Now you come out to plead.
According to the United Nations, it is wrong for you to be killing animal unjust. But if you are in your house, snake now enter. Are you going to wait till going to court to obtain right to kill the snake?
No, you kill her instantly.
Then, if the law tie his hand and he continue receiving slap from the unexpected people, will he going to still hold his hand at the back? Those people we are talking about that are frustrating his effort were people that he appointed. The same constitution give him right to employ and fire.
That's
so then if he lack this, we need to tell the president that have disappointed us.
That's why that's why we talk about the president. They part of a political system. He did part of a political party. That brings us to the issue of
if you are talking about party system, his party did not forsake this particular situation we find ourselves. Okay. Nigeria is not practicing partisan leadership. Sure? A situation where somebody emerge from the party now become the head of the party.
That's well. But the beginning,
so how can you say
being the head? Not me say man, you get all the say now.
The most important thing is that if you want to go by the party guideline, part of the what party stated is there. The Nigerian constitution is there. You have right to do this. You have right to do that. Failure to do your own responsibility is a blame to you, not to any party.
Okay, Ibrahim, thank you very much. We don't try today, and of course we don't get much now. But I will take your last word again. Campaign don't start, and of course, want to win the end of talks. Make political party, they must disclose the source of their campaign fund, corruption, and everything. Your last word for that.
It's just a laughable situation. No matter how they declare their asset, those assets they declare. Have you ever seen anybody penalized for declaring any falsehood at this thing? So how many of them have declared what they have?
Now stepping stone for us.
That should not be even a problem of Nigeria. They should be thinking on how we should hold them responsible on agreement that they should tell Nigeria, not by all this, I will do, no point. Just hold two things. We should not be expecting much from any of the leadership now. Two things during your tenure, 4 years. Give us two formidable things that can transform this country. First, power. Give us power. Once any government will be able to tackle issue of power, every other issue can be solved.
You think, say, what we see now, we will see any bodies, any government give us power?
So if you don't,
no, what is the ground now? If you
cannot get power, automatically you are still continue having the same idea. It's an idea of continue busy doing nothing, because power is a factor that hinder the progress of this nation.
So your advice now for the political parties and for the candidates where they come?
No, Nigeria should demand power. I'm not talking about political power. I'm talking about electricity. They should give us electricity. With electricity, the northern Nigeria will triumph. The southern Nigeria will triumph, because electricity, no matter how agricultural effort you put, you must bring power to gin your product. Without power, you can't excel. Let us have stable power supply. The development of this country will be shock to every other people.
Thank you very much, Oga Ibrahim, for
thank you. Happy independence. May God give us strength beyond this and witness more and more and more.
Amen. Well, my country people, of course, I did since with Oga Ibrahim Yusuf, in the national president, Ariwa Transformational Leaders. And of course, we talk many things, independence, talk democracy, talk our educational system, and of course, we don't analyze many things. Of course, in the talk many things here today. We thank him for coming. We'll invite you again, Oga, very soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers. Happy independence. Stay out of trouble and continue praying for Nigeria. Contribute your quota that was going to make the country great.
Thank you very much. My country people, of course, now so we'll go end the program today, and of course, we start here at 1:30. Remember, say, on Friday, 7 to 9 o'clock, Saturday, 8:30 to 10, and of course, Sunday, 1:30 to 2:30. As I say, now we'll pack our kaya now. But we're going to enjoy the rest of the program where ITV bring up for now. Remember, say the program, they all pull for sponsorship. Program, if you get to we want show to the world, bring and come. My name, CHUKA, ONWUGHAI. To now come for the program, waiting to happen again. I say bye-bye to now. Bye-bye for now.